Let's talk about two people Barnum couldn't rip off because by the time he met them, they were already super famous and successful. Chang and Eng Bunker. Chang and Eng were born in 1811 in Bangkok, Thailand, which was then known as Siam. This is where the derogatory term for conjoined twins comes from. Chang and Eng were conjoined at the stomach, and their parents actually fought doctors in order to keep them as conjoined twins. They didn't trust the doctor's methods at the time, which I don't blame them, it was 1811, but unfortunately their father passed when they were only 8 years old, and this gave them no choice but to help their mother earn a living. They began selling coconut oil and duck eggs to any big ship that would dock in Bangkok, and people began to take notice at how adept they were at rowing their boat together. They became so famous that the king of Siam himself visited them, and in 1829, an American boat captain noticed them. On the spot, this boat captain offered them a job in Europe, and from there it didn't take them long to end up in America. And for the next 7 years, they became extremely famous. At the beginning of the video, I called them Chang and Eng Bunker. This is a last name they adopted in America to fit in better, and so that their citizenship papers looked more American. But in 1838, they became exhausted of exhibiting themselves, plus they had been working full-time since they were 8 years old. Some of the richest Asian Americans in the 19th century, Chang and Eng decided to retire. But here is where the story really took me by surprise. To retire, the Bunker twins purchased a plantation in the Blue Ridge Mountains. They became enslavers, purchasing 33 humans over time. So despite knowing what it was like to stick out like a sore thumb in America, Chang and Eng still purchased and enslaved Black Americans. They married a set of sisters named Sarah and Adelaide Yates. Chang and Adelaide had 10 children, and Eng and Sarah had 12. And actually, in their retirement, the two twins really grew to not like one another. Now, all of what I just talked about happened before they even agreed to work for Barnum. They were refusing him for years, decades even. In the late 1940s, Barnum even had a wax figure made of them to put into his museum. And in 1853, he started selling these weird little booklets about their life, which implied that he had a business deal with them, but he absolutely didn't. But in 1860, their 22 children caught up with them, and they finally caved to Barnum's advances because they needed to pay for all of their children's college educations. But they said to Barnum, "We're only doing 6 weeks. No more." And Barnum said, "Hey, I'm gonna take what I could get. Come on over." And during their partnership, Barnum really disliked the twins. And it's because they were super sharp and he could not control them. It also didn't help that not only did Chang and Eng not like each other, but Sarah and Adelaide also didn't like each other. Barnum wrote that both sets of siblings fought like cats and dogs. Chang was a heavy drinker and Eng didn't drink at all. And Barnum even wrote that one day his employees heard Chang and Eng fighting in their room. So his employees burst in and saw Chang on top of Eng strangling him. Despite all of the problems, Barnum offered them a longer contract past their 6 weeks, and Chang and Eng had had enough. Instead, they decided to do their own tour, in which they would sail from California to Thailand, which they had not been back to in 30 years. But this plan was scrapped by the outbreak of the Civil War. The Civil War stripped them of their wealth entirely, and by the end of it, they did not have a penny to their name. They went on to live until 1874, when Chang suffered a stroke, and this caused Eng to die on the very same day, just 4 hours later.